The Lord be with you. The church with the forward look. Hammerstrom and Johnson had a vision. They knew that there was something that they could do, something that would bring about God's kingdom to this neighborhood, to this community, to this region. A place where adults could connect, where kids could learn and play, not only as teens, but also as young children, as evidenced by the kindergarten, which is now our preschool. It shows that not only the commitment to the youth in this community, but also to the community at large. It was a statement at that time, saying the children were just as worthy to hear God's call as anyone else. It was a place where God could be known. In our reading today, we hear the call of God coming. Not to an adult, not to a 20-something, not to an elderly person. But the call of God is to someone young. And that call, the question of God, came to a young boy in the middle of the night, in a dream. But the unfortunate part is that the child does not already know God. He has not been told who God is, that God loves them, that God created them, and that we are good, that God frees us from our sin, that God, through Christ, knows our pains, knows our anxieties, knows our frustrations, and that God is still present and active in the world. The fortunate part is that the child knew where to turn when questions did come. You see, a relationship had developed. Eli had Samuel helping him around the church. He'd welcomed him in, gave him some chores to do at the place, created a Friday Fun Fest program and sports camps and Sunday school and preschool, helped create a place where he could ask questions, where he could create a safe place, where when that moment came, that Samuel had one of those moments when God calls him in a dream, that he knew where to turn. You see, Eli in the Bible, the best I could tell, was the first youth guy or youth director sort of person. And I know we have Abraham, but he goes up to sacrifice his son. And now I know many youth directors have wanted to sacrifice at least one or two of their students over the years. But still his son, so not quite there to youth guy or youth pastor. And then Moses gets thrown out into a river, and, I hope our youth people have fun, but I think the intention there was a little different too. One night, God calls to Samuel in a dream. And it's understood that Samuel had received God's call. And had it not been for his place at the temple, Samuel might never have known God or grown up to see how God was active in the world, or to really know that it was God calling him. You see, Eli, as the first youth director, helped Samuel at a young age to discern his call, to discern his gifts for ministry, and is specifically called to find ways to connect with youth and help them to see God in everyday life. To help you step out in God's name, to affirm their gifts. To know the support that can happen in a community of faith for both those wonderful good times, as well as the faith in the community that surrounds a youth in those bad times. The church with the forward look. Jesus is 12 years old. He's standing in the temple as his parents find him, and he's not just soaking in what's being told to him, but he's also teaching. He's there answering questions and raising up new and different concerns. And the people, the ones that are listening are in awe. They're just in wonder of what they're hearing. Because it's a new and fresh perspective. One unhindered by life and too much time thinking about it or worried about what others might think. But this youth is standing there teaching. While I believe and know that our youth who are here today are our leaders today, we continue to look and see where the church of tomorrow is. And while a core of it is in our youth here today, and Pastor Johnson and Hammerstone we're looking into the future to ensure that a never-ending supply of leaders and outreach into the community by the presence of grace in the facilities, but they're also doing it in the programming. They look forward and ask the question, what are the needs today? But they also asked a more important question, what are the needs tomorrow? As I talked with many throughout my time here at Grace, I've heard many stories. Many of the stories of the things that have happened here, that have gone on here, and most of them have been good. But what I've really noticed is in all the stories, the sense of community that was formed, that was developed with the youth of this congregation, and how it was a pivotal time in their lives. Stories of basketball in the evening, and how they would just come and play some pickup games. Stories from camp and going out, which you're going to hear some in a little bit. Stories of sitting and watching movies and other just fun stuff that has happened here at this place. And as we look forward, I see a church that is committed to the people who are right here today in a faith community. And we look forward to find new ways to invite others in as we add to that long list that I already read that serves 800, 1,000, 1,500 people through our programs like Friday Fun Fest, Summer Sports and Recreation Camp, which has already seen new and increased numbers from last year, Mobile Food Pantry, which is serving 500 people this last time, Confirmation, where 50 to 60 youth come to learn, basketball, where 20 youth come and just hang out and have a good time, our youth programs, where new and different kids come to hang out and talk about God and talk about their lives, more importantly. I look forward to seeing even more opportunities to provide a place where youth can come to hear the voice of God. Maybe not always by our words, but in our actions. Creating new stories where 30 years from now, they'll be telling about how grace was an important part of their faith formation because of what we're doing today. The church with the forward look. This year we get to send off 2 of our children from Grace to become leaders in the church at large. Abigail Letzinger, who's been a worship leader here at Grace and as well as a pivotal at GPS. And here today we have Shannon Arnold with us, who's leading us in worship. And in the past, Shannon also sang in the praise team, coordinated one of our vacation Bible schools, was a camp counselor in North Carolina, and this summer has been a counselor for a summer sports and recreation camp. Shannon's been extremely active in leading this church, as well as the church at large, and knows God because of the work that has been done here.